Alright, time to look at the next lot of Raw specials. This time we're looking at everything from 2012 to 2015. We have got around 26 episodes to dig into in today's video, so let's get straight to it. The WWE celebrated 1,000 episodes of Raw by ushering in a new era for their flagship weekly television show. From this point on, Raw would be 3 hours every single week, and with that came pros and cons. On one hand, the company were going to make a lot more money every Monday night thanks to TV sponsorships and advertising. On the other hand, fan burnout was a real possibility. D-Generation X reunited on this episode, which is going to be a common theme as we look at more of these specials. Bret Hart made an appearance, Charlie Sheen called into Raw via Skype, yeah. Lita returned to wrestle Heath Slater, The Rock showed up, Daniel Bryan got left at the altar by AJ Lee, and this led to CM Punk and The Rock showing up to rub salt in poor Daniel's wounds. The show ended with John Cena cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase, and not only did Cena fail in his mission when cashing in on Punk, but Punk also turned heel when he attacked The Rock. Raw came from San Antonio, Texas on the 6th of August 2012, and so the WWE billed this episode of Raw as Shawn Michaels Appreciation Night. Not a whole lot happened on the broadcast as it pertains to the Heartbreak Kid. He got involved in a promo that also included Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar and Triple H, but when Raw went off the air, the real Appreciation Night began when wrestlers and staff came to the ring to pay homage to HBK. Kinda like, yeah, we appreciate you, Shawn, but not enough to air all this on TV. The Slammy Awards returned in 2012, and to be fair, the awards handed out here were much more sensible than previous years. No more Critter Moment of the Year or Double Vision Moment of the Year, thankfully. This time John Cena won Best Superstar, AJ Lee won Best Diva, Ryback got a Slammy for Best Newcomer, and Match of the Year went to The Undertaker vs Triple H at WrestleMania 28. Again, strangely, there was no Slammy for Best Tag Team of the Year. The show was main evented with a tag team match, John Cena and Vicky Guerrero vs Dolph Ziggler and AJ Lee. But what's maybe more noteworthy here is the fact that this match features the Raw debut of Big E. It's that time of year when WWE gets all festive, and this Christmas Eve special is kinda notorious for how silly it was. I thought it was all pretty harmless, but some folks still seem to have a real bee in their bonnet when it comes to this episode. Alberto Del Rio runs over old Saint Mick, and John Cena took exception to this. Del Rio and Cena would face each other in a Miracle on 34th Street fight that included the guys beating each other up with Christmas trees and Christmas presents, and John Cena ended up winning the match while Saint Nick returned alive and well. It was a little weird seeing as Del Rio was actually a babyface when all this went down, but it's not like folks should be paying close attention to details during episodes like this. The final Raw of 2012 was a special Champions Choice night where every title except the WWE title was up for grabs. The champions got to choose their own opponents, and we had some champions being good sportsmen while others tried to take the easy way out. Kofi Kingston, for example, agreed to a competitive match against Wade Barrett, while World Champion Big Show took a shortcut by selecting Ricardo Rodriguez. Kofi really should have thought about this though, because he ended up dropping the IC Championship to Wade. The show was headlined with Dolph Ziggler and AJ Lee bringing in the new year with an in-ring toast. However, John Cena decided to dump buckets of poop all over the happy couple. 20 years of Monday Night Raw. The WWE celebrated this milestone on January 14th, 2013 in Houston, Texas, and fans found out on this evening that Mick Foley was getting inducted into the 2013 Hall of Fame. Ric Flair was a guest on Miz TV, CM Punk interrupted one of The Rock's world-famous concerts, Jim Ross returned to call the John Cena vs Dolph Ziggler main event, and clips from Raw's 20-year history were spread out throughout the show. As far as anniversary episodes go, there was really nothing special here. The Mick Foley stuff was alright, but the WWE have definitely produced better milestone episodes. The WWE returns to Las Vegas, and that means Raw Roulette returns the Monday night. I didn't realise there were so many Raw Roulette specials, but there you go, learn something new every day. By now you know the drill. Match stipulations were decided by a spin of the Raw Roulette wheel, but this time we also had the Vicky Guerrero Vegas Challenge wheel and an opponent wheel. Cesaro vs Randy Orton was a special referee match that The Miz would officiate. Ryback and the primetime players had to make Vicky Guerrero laugh, and Ryback told a joke. That joke was, "What has 4 eyes, 20 fingers, and is about to be unconscious?" Titus and Darren didn't get the joke. Tensai and Brodus Clay ended up taking part in a dance-off. Cody Rhodes got himself a match against John Cena, and this episode of Raw ended with Brock Lesnar giving Vince McMahon an F5. As far as Raw Roulette goes, this was one of the better episodes. Old School Raw returned on March 4th, 2013, and again, the general theme was all over the place. Raw's wore Titantron, 80s and early 90s logos, lower thirds that looked like they were from the 80s too, pretty much the same as last time, although don't let this put you off. I think the WWE didn't really care about pinpointing an exact time period, and instead they wanted to include as much old school stuff as possible. This one included appearances from The Undertaker, The Honky Tonk Man, The New Age Outlaws, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and other legends. Fandango also made his Raw debut on this very episode, and Mae Young celebrated her 90th birthday on the entranceway, but she was rudely interrupted by that no good CM Punk. Raw took place in Calgary, Alberta, Canada on May 27, 2013, and so the WWE decided to pay tribute to Bret the Hitman Hart on this night. Again, just like HBK's Appreciation Night, the part where superstars paid tribute to Bret in the ring didn't air on TV. The WWE did upload footage to their website though, so this time around it was easy enough to watch. The tributes after the show went on for about half an hour, and those who came out to thank Bret for all his work included Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels, Pat Patterson, and Vince McMahon. The night where WWE tried their best to murder Steve Blackman, but thankfully the lethal weapon is still among us today. Raw Country came from Nashville, Tennessee, of course, and the company brought in Florida Georgia Line for a live performance during this show. I remember these guys showing up constantly and their music getting used for events and whatnot on more than one occasion. I'm not familiar with the band at all, so if this is your thing, then more power to you. I'm sure Kurt Hennig would have loved it. The show was headlined with a big 12-man tag that included Daniel Bryan, Goldust, Cody Rhodes, The Usos, and CM Punk taking on The Shield and the Wyatt family. Xavier Woods also made his Raw debut on this show, teaming up with R-Truth to take on 3MB, who on this night were known as the Rhinestone Cowboys. Seattle, Washington hosted the 2013 Slammy Awards show, and this time Daniel Bryan won Superstar of the Year. Diva of the Year went to both Nikki and Brie Bella, among a sea of boos. And Match of the Year went to John Cena vs The Rock at WrestleMania 29. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that one. Tag Team of the Year came back though, and the winners were Cody Rhodes and Goldust. But what many people are going to remember about this episode of Raw was the ridiculous crowd reaction Daniel Bryan got during the Championship Ascension ceremony. The fans went crazy for Bryan as he stood there among other former WWE champions, and the reaction he got was way too loud to ignore. Daniel's reaction was absolutely priceless. Mick Foley, Shawn Michaels, The New Age Outlaws, and Bret Hart all made special appearances. In 2013, the WWE celebrated Christmas in Austin, Texas, and fans got treated to the Battle for Christmas. Bad Santa, represented by Damien Sandow, versus Good Santa, represented by Mark Henry. Bad News Barrett raised money all day out on the streets of Austin, only to reveal that he didn't represent any charities and he was going to take the money all for himself. Dolph Ziggler faced Fandango in a Christmas present on a pole match, and the women took part in a 12-diva Jingle Bells match. The main event of this episode featured The Shield taking on John Cena, Big E, and CM Punk. Coming from Baltimore, Maryland, and taking place on the 6th of January 2014, Old School Raw made its return, and many fans are going to remember Jake the Snake Roberts showing up at the end of the broadcast to slap his snake on top of Dean Ambrose. Not sure if that's a nervous smile Dean has, or if he's just really enjoying that snake licking his nose. Ted DiBiase, IRS, Nikolai Volkov, DDP, Arn Anderson, Roddy Piper, Too Cool, and other legends attended the show, and they all took some verbal abuse from Bad News Barrett. And the main event featured CM Punk taking on Roman Reigns. In just a few short weeks' time, Punk would walk out of the WWE and he wouldn't wrestle again until 2021. Occupy Raw featured the biggest protest in WWE history when Daniel Bryan, fed up with the authority and fed up with being seen as nothing but a B+ player, got in the ring among a sea of fans to demand a match against Triple H at WrestleMania. The Yes movement was in full effect. Daniel was tired of Hunter not listening to him and not listening to the fans. So Daniel and all these people refused to leave the ring until Triple H agreed to a WrestleMania match. Enraged by the show getting held up, Hunter eventually agreed to the match, and Daniel then decided to push his luck and add a little stipulation to their contest. If Daniel beats Triple H at WrestleMania, then Daniel will also get added to the WWE World Title main event match later in the evening. You know the story, Bryan defeated the game and he went on to become WWE champ, and fans were treated to a WrestleMania moment that they'd never ever forget. Reading up a bit on Occupy Raw, I noticed that some news outlets thought the whole thing was a way of mocking Daniel Bryan's fans and how Bryan's fans felt entitled when it came to WWE booking. I don't necessarily buy that, and I've always believed that WWE knew Bryan was winning the belt at Mania long before Occupy Raw, but it is interesting hearing these other theories. 411 Mania, meanwhile, said that Occupy Raw was to make fun of fans failing to hijack Raw in CM Punk's hometown of Chicago, but I don't buy that either. Bit of a weird number to celebrate, but WWE put on a special Raw when they reached episode 1100, taking place in Washington DC on June 23, 2014. Nothing at all special really happened here, not unless you include Stephanie McMahon versus Vicky Guerrero, a match where the loser would get thrown into a pool of wet shit. Jack Swagger took on Kofi Kingston, Seth Rollins wrestled Rob Van Dam. The show was headlined with Roman Reigns, John Cena and Sheamus taking on Randy Orton, Cesaro, Alberto Del Rio and Bray Wyatt in a 4-on-3 match. And there were no real surprises or returns at all during this show. Makes you wonder why they bothered celebrating it in the first place. What you gonna do, brother? The WWE celebrated Hulk Hogan's 61st birthday in Portland, Oregon, and during the night, superstars had to walk past a big bunch of red and yellow presents as they made their way down to the ring. Celebrities and sports personalities sent in videos wishing the Hulkster a happy birthday, and the show ended with a big celebration hosted by Mean Gene Okerlund and Jimmy Hart. Hogan was joined by legends of the business including Roddy Piper, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, Ric Flair, who didn't shake Hogan's hand but he did shake Mean Gene's, that was a bit awkward, and Hulk was also joined by the Outsiders. Hall and Nash got Hogan to shed away the red and yellow once again while Scott Hall conducted an NWO survey, but the fun and games ended when Brock Lesnar came to the ring. It was interesting seeing Brock square up to legends like Roddy Piper, but he then told Hogan that the party was over, Grandpa, and it was time to hit the bricks. John Cena ran down for the save, and Raw ended with Lesnar leaving the ring while Hogan didn't get a chance to eat any birthday cake. Some years, the WWE would promote their annual season premiere, in other years, they couldn't care less about it. In 2014 though, the company decided to build their September 8th edition of Raw as a special season premiere episode, and the new season kicked off with a steel cage match, Chris Jericho vs Bray Wyatt. Jerry Springer made an appearance to settle a dispute between the Bella twins, absolutely riveting stuff that saw Springer take a bump and get carried out on a stretcher. And the show was headlined by Roman Reigns and Randy Orton going at it in a one-on-one match. The cage would end up getting lowered again and Roman took a beating from Orton, Seth Rollins and Corporate Kane. The 2014 Slammy Awards show, taking place on December 8th, 2014, was hosted by Seth Green. Big Dog Roman Reigns beat Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose, John Cena, Seth Rollins and others to become Superstar of the Year. AJ Lee was Diva of the Year. The Best Tag Team Award went to Jimmy and Jey Uso. In the Team Authority vs Team Cena Survivor Series 2014 match got chosen as Match of the Year. The show was headlined by a John Cena vs Big Show match. Another Christmas episode of Raw aired on December 22nd, 2014, and this time we had special guest general manager Ho Hogan. Piper's Pit made a return when the Hot Rod interviewed Rusev and Lana. We got another Miracle on 34th Street fight, this time featuring Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose. And once again, the Divas got dressed up for a big Christmas-themed tag match. During the Piper's Pit segment, Roddy had a special surprise for Rusev, his very own Ryback complete with a little bow. And the Miracle on 34th Street fight was a little more violent this time around while still maintaining a festive theme. We even had kendo candy canes in this one. New Year's Raw took place on December 29, 2014 in Washington DC, 1 week after Raw Christmas. And this time we had Edge and Christian returning to TV to serve as guest general managers. Unfortunately, the rated R superstar ended up getting held hostage by Seth Rollins, and to free Edge from this predicament, John Cena had to bring back the Authority. But still, before all this happened, Edge and Christian had a lot of fun running the show, and it was good to see these two back on Raw. Matches that took place on this night included Luke Harper vs Jack Swagger, the Usos vs The Miz and Damien Mizdow, and Seth Rollins also took on Roman Reigns. That match ended when the Big Show interfered. The first Raw special of 2015 was a special John Cena Appreciation Night held on January 5th in Corpus Christi. Now, this isn't your typical Appreciation Night where a superstar gets praised by his friends and peers. No, the Authority gave John his very own Appreciation Night because Cena was responsible for bringing the Authority back during New Year's Raw. John found out that his one-on-one match against Brock Lesnar at the upcoming Royal Rumble pay-per-view was now a triple threat match. Hunter wanted to reward Seth Rollins for his work on New Year's Raw, and so Rollins was now part of that Royal Rumble main event. And the Authority also made life difficult for those who were instrumental in getting them removed from Raw in the first place. At the end of the show, Dolph Ziggler, Ryback and Eric Rowan all got fired, and the Authority put the blame on John Cena. It was time to bring back the legends of WWE for another special episode. This time it was Raw Reunion in Dallas, Texas. And it was also around this time when people started getting a little fed up with stars of the past getting brought back to pop a rating. Personally speaking, I really like seeing the legends on Monday nights, but I know loads of fans out there don't care about this kind of thing, and that's fair enough too. I can definitely appreciate and understand where folks are coming from. The Clique were in attendance, and X-Pac wanted to hire Damien Sandow as his new stunt double. Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan took part in a Legends panel where they talked about Cena's current situation with the Authority, and an appearance from Sting during the main event led to John Cena getting Ryback, Eric Rowan and Dolph Ziggler their jobs back. The New Age Outlaws, the APA and the NWO destroyed the Ascension too, something that irked fans back in 2015, but nowadays I don't think too many people care about it. A major winter storm stopped Raw from taking place on the 26th of January 2015. A travel ban was put in place across the Northeast, so the WWE were forced to cancel a SmackDown taping in Boston and reschedule Raw for the ensuing SmackDown on Thursday. So for this episode of Raw, Michael Cole and Booker T presented a special show from Stamford while JBL acted as a weatherman on the roof of WWE headquarters. The company decided to air the 2015 Royal Rumble Triple Threat main event match, along with the Royal Rumble match itself during this episode of Raw. And some studio interviews took place that were actually pretty good. The final interview featured Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, and it turned out to be a great piece of WWE television that served well in the build-up to WrestleMania 31. No one really likes highlight or clip shows, but fair play to WWE for showing big pay-per-view matches that happened very recently. The 2015 King of the Ring began on the April 27, 2015 episode of Monday Night Raw. However, the semi-finals and final match aired exclusively on the WWE Network the following night. While you can appreciate WWE wanting to make exclusive content for the network, and while this does make sense from a business perspective, it makes the tournament feel a little messy and disjointed in comparison to either doing a one-night tournament or holding the finals on a traditional pay-per-view. Anyway, the final match featured Adrian Neville and Bad News Barrett. Barrett became the 2015 King of the Ring, and the tournament would then take another long hiatus as fans wouldn't see another King of the Ring getting crowned until 2019. Memphis, Tennessee hosted the 2015-2016 season premiere of Monday Night Raw on September 14th. The first match of the new season featured The New Day taking on the Primetime Players, and Triple H was in such a good mood when kicking off another year of WWE action that the Mad Bastard actually started dancing with Big E, Woods and Kofi. Sting had his first ever match on Monday Night Raw and he defeated the Big Show via disqualification. And Kevin Owens took the piss out of Ryback because the big man spent time on Raw talking about The Secret, a book based on the law of attraction and a book that Ryback said was legitimately responsible for all his success in life. Coming from Minneapolis on December 21st, 2015, the Slammy Awards returned to WWE Raw, and this time Seth Rollins was named Superstar of the Year. Every superstar on the roster was eligible to win this Slammy instead of 5 or 6 nominations. Diva of the Year went to Nikki Bella, the Usos were named Tag Team of the Year, and Match of the Year honours went to Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker for their match at Hell in a Cell 2015. The show was headlined with a Sheamus vs Dean Ambrose cage match, and yeah, nothing more to say really. Another Slammy Awards show, nothing special. Alright, that's every Raw special from the start of 2012 to the end of 2015. Next time I'll cover 2016 to 2020, and there'll be one more video after that one to cover everything else up until the present day. As always, sound off in the comments, let me know your favourite Raw specials, or let me know if I've missed anything here, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you for watching, and please take care.